Hi, it's time for another verb of the day. Today's verb is hold. Before we take a look at some of the definitions or usages for this verb, I want to point out that hold has many different meanings. So if you have a particular usage in mind and you don't see it in my list, please don't think you're wrong. I just don't want these videos to last a half an hour. So now let's take a look at a few ways we can use this verb. The first is to mean to grasp, carry, or support with one's hands. When I think of grasp, I think of the idea of a parent holding their child's hand as they walk across the street. The idea of carrying or supporting with one's hands, I am holding a coffee mug, right? I'm supporting it with my hands. A second way to use this verb hold is to mean to contain or be able of containing a specified amount. So also we could say connected to coffee mugs, right? Some of them are quite large, some smaller. We might want to know how much coffee can this cup hold? How much can it contain? A third way to use the verb hold is to mean to have or follow a belief or opinion. Sometimes you will hear political candidates or politicians in general talk about the beliefs they hold or have. A fourth way to use the verb hold is to mean to arrange and take part in a meeting or a conversation. People will talk about holding meetings, holding events. This is all connected to that particular definition. A fifth way to use the verb hold is to mean to keep or detain someone. If you regularly read the news, you might see this verb hold used in a way similar to the police are holding the suspect. So the person they think that may have committed the crime is with them. They're not sort of free and out in the public. You should know that hold is an irregular verb. To make the progressive tense, all we're going to do is add ing to form holding. The past tense and participle forms of this verb are going to have a spelling change. So instead of H-O-L-D, we're going to have H-E-L-D, and that will be pronounced held, held. Now let's take a look at some phrasal verbs. And from the note on the top of the screen, you're probably noticing that we're going to discuss a lot of phrasal verbs today. This is just part one, and we won't do individualized verb tense practice today, but I'll try and point a few of those out as we look at the example sentences. So let's get started with the phrasal verb to hold something against someone. And this means that someone is feeling angry with another person because of something that person did in the past. You might hear the phrase to hold a grudge. This is going to be quite similar. Okay? So here's an example sentence. Please don't hold this against me, but I forgot your gift at home. So essentially, someone is saying, don't be mad at me and don't keep being mad for an extended period of time. Another phrasal verb you might hear is hold back. This can have several different meanings. We're going to take a look at three of them. The first is to not show any emotion. Here is an example of this usage. He held back tears at the funeral. So somebody was quite sad, obviously, another has passed, but here they are, this person, he in this case, is trying not to show emotion by crying. So they're stopping that. A second way to use hold back is to mean to prevent something from moving forward or progressing. Here is an example of that usage. The student was held back a grade. So Generally, in the United States, we think of our children moving from grade 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, etc., year after year. But sometimes, for a number of different reasons, a student may not be ready to progress or move forward. So they will be kept in that particular grade for another year. Another way to use hold back is to not share information publicly. Here's an example of that. The company has held back a reason for firing the employee. So whatever reason the company had for getting rid of or terminating an employee, it has not been shared publicly. The next phrasal verb we'll take a look at is hold down. Many times this is used to mean to keep a job. So, an example, can she hold down a job? Can she keep her employment for an extended period of time? The next phrasal verb we'll take a look at is hold off or hold off on. Both of these are going to mean to delay or postpone something. Here's an example of hold off on. We're holding off on traveling this holiday season. So we're delaying or postponing our travel, likely due to the pandemic. Sometimes you will hear hold off without the on used as an imperative. So maybe you're asking, can I start this thing? And they go, oh, no, let's hold off, right? Let's delay, let's postpone starting that. And maybe a reason is given or an explanation. So before I continue talking, I'm just going to do kind of a quick verb review through our example sentences here. So don't hold this against me is an imperative or a command. Held back here is simple past tense. Was held back. This is passive voice, which we'll talk about a little more tomorrow. The company has held back. That's present perfect. Can she hold down a job? That's a question about ability. And here we are holding off on. That is present progressive. So now I think we're ready to move on to our second set of phrasal verbs. The next one we're going to look at is hold on. This can mean to wait. So, used in an example sentence, will you hold on a minute? Hold on or hold on to can also mean to hold something tightly. Here's an example of that. Hold on to the railing. It's icy, right? So imagine it being winter, being kind of slick, and someone is walking up some stairs. They're encouraging the person to grasp something tightly. Another phrasal verb you might hear is to hold out for. This means to wait for something better or refuse something now because you anticipate that something better will be available in the future. Here's an example. The basketball player is holding out for more money before signing a contract. So he thinks the team or she thinks the team is able to pay them more. So they're waiting, they're delaying signing a contract. The next phrasal verb we'll look at is hold together. This means for something to not break up or not fall apart. Here is an example. Did the building hold together during the earthquake? The last phrasal verb we're going to look at is hold up. This can have two very different meanings. The first is, again, to be delayed. This usage is clear in the sentence, I was held up by heavy traffic. So I'm late because of, or I was delayed because of heavy traffic. The second way you might hear hold up used is to mean to rob with violence or threats. Again, this might be something you hear if you're watching news or that you see if you're reading the newspaper. Here's an example of that. 2 armed robbers held up the bank. So armed implies that they have weapons, likely guns in this case. And so they ask the bank, give me money or I'll hurt you, right? That is a threat of violence. So again, just a quick little review of tenses. Here we have, you can think of this as a request or a future, simple future question. Here's another imperative. I'm telling someone what to do. Here's another example of present progressive. Here's a simple past tense question. This is also passive here, and passive past tense, pardon. And this is active voice passive. Active voice past tense. Ooh. Okay, now let's take a look at some words that are related to our verb hold. The first is the exact same word, just the noun usage. It's got the same spelling, same pronunciation. Hold could be an act or manner of grasping something. Here's an example that aligns with that definition. Do you have a hold on your brother's hand? Again, maybe we're asking one child about the other for safety. Hold could also mean power or control. An example of that would be the sentence, he has maintained a hold over the political party. So again, this is implying power or control. The second word we're going to look at is the noun holder. This can have a few different meanings. It could be a device or implement for holding something. And you'll see many things described with this particular usage, like in my example sentence, how many cup holders are there in the car, right? So specific devices that are made for holding cups. Holder could also mean the possessor or person of a trophy, championship, or record. Here's an example of this usage. Katie Ledecky is the world record holder in the women's 400-meter freestyle. This might not be a name you know, but a very talented swimmer. So, the last usage for holder is a person who holds something. Here's an example of that usage. Ticket holders will get a refund. So, the people who possess or hold tickets will get a refund. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you have a great day.